Good morning, Karen Lovely here, The Power of Self-Evolution, the podcast, part 3 of 3, Evolve Your Money Relationship with the extraordinary Dr. David Gruder, PhD, the psychotherapist to the psychotherapists. And this morning, David, good morning, first of all. How are you?
I am happy and excited for this installment of our series. How are you? You're good?
Yeah, well, talk about, I do feel like, gosh, I need some psychotherapy this morning. Or something. Psychic therapy, psychotherapy, astrology therapy, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, I'm a little, I don't know. Maybe it's because this is bringing up stuff for me. It is. And I'm not going to lie about it. I love this series. As a matter of fact, I'm a little sad it's part 3 of 3. But, so let's get started.
Sure.
Whew. All right. So we're digging deep here. That is my MO. And we're talking about evolving our relationship with money. Really has to do with our relationship to self. I also believe and say our relationship to ourself and that inner child. And I'm going to say your quote again, which I absolutely love. We live our lives at the level of our wounds, not our wishes. And the wounding in childhood, our last part 2, you talked about your 3-year-old eternal punishment myth, and that was fascinating. So in part 3, we're dealing with monetization mastery, right? Replacing myths and monetizing. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Okay, well, let's get to it. I'm ready. Right? Wealth. Okay, I hashtagged you at Wealth Creates Money. Been sharing that with a lot of people and they're loving it. So let's quick review wealth. Wealth creates money. Speak into that as we get started here.
Sure. Well, one of the common myths in our society, and it's certainly a myth that I bought into myself, was that money is what creates wealth. And what that caused for me, what buying into that caused for me, and I know I'm not alone in this, is that I ended up putting an awful lot of pressure onto money to provide me with something that money's not designed to provide. And the paradox of what's really true, the paradox is the opposite of that wealth creates money. And as soon as I shifted into appreciating that it's wealth that creates money, then the pressure that I was feeling around money, I would say probably about 75 or 80% of the pressure that I felt around money simply fell away. It disappeared because, again, I was trying to get money to produce for me what money can't produce. Money doesn't produce wealth. Money produces financial well-being, sure, but I have multiple wealths inside me, what I refer to as M-wealths, and those wealths are pre-existing, and my responsibility is to decide which of my wealths are going to be the most serving for me to convert into money.
Okay. That's M-wealths. So, let's review M-wealths because, people automatically, by association, think of wealth, money, fame, fortune, the best car, the best house, this, that. No. Let's delve into wealth for just a moment here.
Sure. And in order to do that, let's just quickly review my definition of money, which is portions of our life energy, portions of our wealth in a converted form. Where we're taking the life energy that we have, or portions of that life energy that we have, portions of the wealth that we have, and converting those portions into money. So the M-wealths that we have vary from person to person and in degree or amount, but we have health wealth, we have purpose wealth, we have skills and expertise and experience wealth, we have love or relationship wealth, we have just all kinds of different types of wealth that unfortunately are not identified as wealth, even though these are the wealths, character wealth being another, intentions wealth being another. All of these are wealths that are absolutely crucial to bring to bear in how we make money. And so we can either do that by default or by design. We can either stumble along, or we can get really aware of the wealths that we carry and which of our M-wealths are going to be the most useful to draw upon in order to convert our life energy into money.
I love how you say that. Life energy into money. Whew. Okay, so I'm going to read this again because I see that I was looking at my notes here, and the way that I wrote it, I made something up, but it still worked. Yeah, it still worked. So, monetization mastery, replacing myths and shadow programming with the missing keys. Okay, that's what I love. The shadow programming with the missing keys. I want to know the missing keys.
Hey.
Yeah. So.
Well.
Yep.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm all ears.
You're all ears. Okay, I'm all mouth.
It's Karen you're talking to. I'm all ears. All ears. Yeah.
Now, you know you're talking to a New Yorker here, so...
I know, David. And, you're talking to a Jersey girl. Born and raised in Manhattan. Yeah.
Yeah, here we go. We live on the West Coast now, so our accents usually disappear a lot. But then if Jersey, they come back in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Mine's feeling a little rusty this morning, too. How funny. It's Karen you're talking to. I love that. Maybe that's really the draw here, because it reminds me of home. Being raised, predominantly, Caucasian, Jewish, and then the accent and the nasal thing. It's hilarious.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I know, right?
Yeah, right. So,
missing keys are, first of all, people generally haven't identified what their M-wealths are, what their multidimensional wealths are. They haven't taken charge of their life energy allocations. They haven't evaluated their decisions about which portions of their life energy and their M-wealths to monetize and for what purpose, and they haven't filled in their monetization gaps, the gaps that they need to fill in order to financially succeed at converting those portions of their life energy and wealths into money. So where this all starts, Karen, where monetization mastery, or what I sometimes also refer to as spiritual monetization effectiveness, starts, is with a decision-making framework around what to monetize and how. And that framework for decision-making has three components to it, and we'll unpack them as we go along. Right wealths, right size, and right build-out. Right wealths is about which of my M-wealths am I going to bring to bear in service of my impact mission, whatever mission of impact I have in this life. And right size is how big is it going to serve me to build that project that I have in mind. And right build-out has to do with how sanely do I build out to my right size largeness of project. So that's kind of a big overview picture structure of the keys to the decision-making framework that monetization mastery or spiritual monetization effectiveness relies on.
Ooh, it's getting deep.
Ooh,
I need my galoshes.
Oh, good deep and bad deep. Hopefully we're not slogging around in mud.
Yeah, well, this is, when you say right build out, now I have my real estate license. I come from a real estate background, and I think build out, I think construction build out. That's what goes to my head right there. And so say that again in a different way for me and the listeners. Right build out, and how sanely right on the right side of the project. I'm taking notes and I'm like, what? Say that again, please. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And what you associated to is perfect, because in construction, only the foolhardy try to do framing on a building before they have the flooring done, and only foolhardy builders try to create flooring until they've created the right foundation, and only foolhardy builders create a foundation before the soil or rock on top of which they're building that foundation has been properly prepared. So this is the soil or the bedrock underneath the building. This is about properly preparing the land for something to get built on.
Love that.
So the right build out, how sanely. Here's what it comes down to. Let me say these three elements in a slightly different way, all three of them, because they're very tied together. I have my mission of impact. I have the ways in which I want to make a positive difference in the world. And then I have my ultimate life goals. Let me back up. My purpose, my sense of the kind of positive impact that I'm here in this life to make, is what tells me which portions of my M-wealth, which portions of my life energy I'm going to need to bring to bear in order to have that positive impact. My ultimate life goals, which are the ideal calendar, the ideal lifestyle, and the ideal legacy that I want to be living, that understanding of those things, those ultimate life goals, tells me how big to build my project, my career. And then right build out, how sanely, has to do with a couple of things. First of all, it starts with identifying the life balance commitments I have between now and when I attain my ultimate life goals, because that's what tells me how fast to build my project and how to structure it so that I don't go nuts in the process of building out my service mission, my impact mission.
Wow. Whew. Okay, so we're saying let's not, what's that cliche? Bite off more than we can chew.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Is that we have to have powerful perspective. It's one thing to say, oh, I want to be the next Steve Jobs. It's another to actually set up the infrastructure.
Well, absolutely. And someone says the equivalent of, I want to be the next Steve Jobs. The question immediately is, to what ends? That's an impact mission question. And then the question that comes after that is if I adopt that kind of supersized version of my impact mission, is that something that will create more for me than what enoughness is? Will it generate more than what I need for my ideal to live my ideal calendar, lifestyle, and legacy? Because if I build something bigger than what enoughness requires, that's when I get stuck in greed. That's when I get stuck in overwhelm. And then the of how fast. That's what our life balance commitments tell us is how fast we can build something out without going nuts. So these are all huge, important questions that are generally just glossed straight over by entrepreneurs. And there's even a version of this for employees, by the way.
Okay. Wow. I'm just thinking about the businesses that I've built, and they've been fairly successful. There was no big infrastructure, but therein lies the problem, is it worked to a point, but then how sustainable is it? And is it to the degree in which I consciously desire most? So this is a big reality check, a wake-up call here.
Massive. This is the big reality check, and it's the clarity about these things do form our framework, our internal framework for making good decisions about how to proceed.
Right, how to proceed without getting overwhelmed, discouraged, and losing our momentum and our mojo.
Yes, or without, as I did in the 1990s, building something incredibly successful back then that I became a slave to. So I didn't end up living my ultimate life goals, and my life balance commitments went to HE double hockey sticks and a handbasket.
I love that. I love the HE double hockey sticks,
Yeah.
Yep, that's great. Yep. And so that's exactly right. So live and learn. And say, okay, well, that didn't work. Back to the drawing board. So then where do we start here in terms of, we have this A under this topic, why affirmations aren't nearly enough. I'm right with you on that one. But is there something before that? When you're just presenting these big, huge questions to entrepreneurs and employees, and employees who want to make a transition out of employment into entrepreneurialism, oh my gosh, what do we do now?
Well,
yeah, go ahead.
We start with audacity.
Oh.
We start by giving ourselves the internal permission to really step into owning whatever our impact mission is. Most people have not created a written down version of their life's mission. They don't have a life mission statement. They may be familiar with the notion of a mission statement because most businesses have a vision statement and a mission statement and things like that. But my experience is that most individuals do not. So they don't have a true north. They don't have a guiding light that is keeping them on track through their life's journey.
Wow. So
it starts with impact mission. Maybe it would be helpful if I share my personal life mission, my overall mission statement that encompasses all parts of my life, including my work, but not limited to my work.
Yeah, of course, Dave. We're going to go there. So, yeah, please, you got the floor.
Okay. Here's my overall impact mission for all parts of my life. I lovingly co-create a world of integrity, collaboration, and abundance by vulnerably exposing my heart, wisdom, and flaws.
Wow. That's awesome. Which I just read an article about Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg. I think he's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, and he is just saying, we make a lot of errors. We've been making a lot of errors. And this year, 2018, we're going to delve into these errors. And we're going to, he admits that he has made errors. Like that right there, to me, is awesome. That's why he's Mark Zuckerberg. And then he's going right toward them. So,
absolutely.
Yes.
And let's go one step further with the Mark Zuckerberg example of this, because What he also did was he took a stand on behalf of enoughness rather than greed. In that,
yes.
he said, in order to correct those mistakes, we might not make as much money, at least in the near term, and maybe not at all. We might not make as much money, but we'll make enough. We'll make enough money to serve our mission.
Brilliant. That's right. And you know what's so interesting? Because I read that part, which I loved, but it wasn't highlighted in my head because I was so enthralled by his willingness to go where most people aren't willing to go, to their flawed areas and their vulnerabilities. And yes, and you're right. Thank you. Glad you got the memo.
So most people aren't willing to go to the level of their flaws. Most executives and stockholders aren't willing to go to the level of enoughness.
Exactly. And I love what you said and reminded me that he isn't looking at the greedy bottom line. He's okay with not, quote unquote, hitting those numbers in the name of integrity, in the name of what he stands for.
Exactly. But what he wouldn't be willing to do in service of that is to create an unprofitable company, because that would be profoundly self-destructive. So it's not about let me tie this back into one of the things we said in the very first segment, which is about how our society around money is polarized into one group that insists that in order to be profitable, you have to be willing to sacrifice personal integrity, life balance, cherished relationships, and social responsibility, and the other group that insists that in order to maintain or preserve our personal integrity and our life balance and our cherished relationships and social responsibility, we have to be willing to sacrifice financial well-being. Both of those two groups are equally and oppositely insane. What Mark Zuckerberg was modeling was the third alternative.
Yes. And let's repeat the third alternative again.
The third alternative is enoughness, where, yes, we are going to be profitable. We are going to be profitable in ways that enable us to embody and express and actualize our mission of impact in the world and to reach our ultimate life goals. And we're going to do that in ways that do not sacrifice our life balance commitments in order to get there. We are going to be profitable, but not at the cost of sacrificing our personal integrity, our life balance, our cherished relationships, or social responsibility.
Right. And then we want to look at, for 2018, we may not hit our numbers, but that doesn't mean we're not going to. That's where I believe a lot of human beings have issues right there, is even if we don't, it's still okay. It's still enough. And being able to maintain our composure and our passion and our desire and our M-wealth while the numbers aren't hitting. Can we talk about that for a moment? Because that's a tough place. Yes, that's a tough place for most.
Right.
Yep.
Well, when people generate their numbers or companies generate their numbers, they only generally generate one set of numbers, which is the number they want to hit. And that's a faulty process. That's a faulty formula in my experience. There need to be two sets of numbers. One set of numbers is what are the numbers that are really going to be a stretch for me, but a realistic stretch for me or for my company, that I'm going to do everything that's sanely in my power to achieve this year without sacrificing my sanity, my life balance, et cetera, et cetera. What are those numbers? And then the other set of numbers is, what are my minimum numbers that in order to remain sustainable, in order to continue to pay my bills, in order for the company to not go bankrupt, I absolutely have to meet?
Wow. Woo! This is so great because, I mean, even to face our quote-unquote numbers is extremely confronting. I know for me personally, yes. And to bring that up with people is a big deal. And then to even go into it further. But what you just said, yeah, absolutely. Whew. Okay, so then let's talk about what does it take in our attitude, our beingness, to be able to weather the storm, to be able to confront the numbers lack thereof, and to look at both of these groups of numbers. And when we're like, oh my gosh, it's not looking good. And we know that positive affirmations aren't nearly enough. Now what, Dr. David?
Well, now what is there are a couple of ingredients. Mm-hmm. The first is that what we talked about in our last section, in the last podcast, is about the sabotage programming that we need to outgrow, and the money myths and things like that. And we're assuming now, at this point in our discussion, that someone has done their inner work and they have addressed, just to recap the terms we used last time, and people can re-listen to what each of these terms mean when they re-listen to that podcast. But we've dealt with our reverse sourcing issues and our entitlement scripts, and we've gotten our arms around our money risks, and we've gotten free of blocking spiritual reciprocity, the reciprocity of love. Mm-hmm. Now, what we have to be willing to do is step into full ownership of our impact mission, because it's our mission of impact that is going to keep us moving forward no matter what curveballs are thrown at us. We are not going to give up our impact mission, because it's why we're here. We're clear about our ultimate life goals that we're heading toward ultimately actualizing, or our ideal calendar, lifestyle, and legacy that we're building. So it's those things that are keeping us motivated, that are going to keep us moving forward no matter what complications get thrown in our direction. And then the final ingredient that makes all of the magic work is that we have identified our monetization gaps, our missing keys, the skills, the tactics, the resources that we need to be able to master, or engage people to master, or to implement rather on our behalf, such as how are we going to do productization of our vision, our services, or the things we're bringing to the market. What about our visibility and opportunity creation skills, and selling skills, and customer care skills, and our skills in transforming customers into visibility creators for us themselves, and our capacity to track our financial well-being and things along those lines. Most of us have pretty significant monetization gaps, gaps that we have to fill in order for us to become who our project, our venture, our enterprise, our career needs us to be in order for it to succeed.
Woo! If you can't handle the heat, get out of the kitchen, ladies and gentlemen. Whew, it's heating up. Whew. Yes. Amen. I just want to say amen, my brother.
Yeah, this is the church of entrepreneurship. This is the synagogue or the mosque of entrepreneurship.
Yes.
You know, entrepreneurship is not for the faint of heart.
No.
Frankly, though,
yes,
creating authentically successful career, even as an employee, is not for the faint of heart. But most employees end up living, instead of what we're talking about, is they end up living the Ballad of Jack and Diane, that song by John Cougar Mellencamp. The line, life goes on long after the thrill of living is gone. That's living. That's hell on earth.
Yeah. That is HE double hockey sticks on earth. Yes, that is hell on earth.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. Right? Exactly right. So if there's hell on earth, then we can live heaven on earth. That's the...
Precisely. We are willing to become who our... I'll put it in this slightly different wording. If we're willing to become who our impact mission needs us to become and who our ultimate life goals need us to become in order to succeed.
Okay. Now that's big. Who we're willing to become. Yes. Who we're willing to become to fuel all of this, to bring it into fruition. Make it real.
Right. And what most people don't do, because they don't know how, generally, is they don't do a gaps analysis. They don't know how to sit down and say, and identify the entire range of expertise and resources that their impact mission is going to require in order to succeed. The entire range of their expertise, their leadership development, the kinds of executives they're going to need, if they're going to need any, the kinds of implementers they're going to need, the kinds of visibility providers they're going to need, the kinds of funding they're going to need. They don't sit down and identify the entire range of what their impact mission is going to require in order to succeed. And then from there, they don't do a gaps analysis that identifies the gaps between who they currently are, the wealth they currently have, and the wealth they need to develop in order for them to be who they need to become for their impact mission to succeed. And without that gaps analysis, how can we create a sane path forward in building out our vision?
Okay. So, exactly right. And so when we say, because this is the whole thing that really catapulted my life, from all the therapy, which was good, but it just didn't penetrate into such profound ways. But this whole, who are we willing to be? Who are we willing to become? And, bridging the gap of our beingness. That's what we're talking about, right? Our attitude, our disposition, our beingness. Say more about that, because I love this part. This is my whole shtick, this thing, this beingness thing.
It's the intersection between our beingness and our skills. Our beingness is the foundation. There are people who, forget about other people. To survive my upbringing, there were parts of my light that I needed to learn to hide, because parts of my light scared people around me. They were too much for people around me. So I learned how to be a withholder, be a heart hider, be an audacity hider. How to be a human doing, not a human being.
Yes. Okay. We got to touch on this. So yes, go ahead.
The beingness part is about me stepping back into the fullness of who I am, of my authenticity, of my spiritual being, and being willing for people to be scared by that. Not that I'm waking up in the morning, this is the last thing I would wake up in the morning wanting to do. It's not that I have the agenda or the intention to scare people, but neither is my light going to be compromised or hidden, because it will and does scare some people. I'd rather scare people and hold them with love than hold my light and kill myself.
Ooh, that is so good. That is so exactly right on. And I, again, relate. It's surreal. I absolutely get exactly what you're saying. Okay, I was a classic, I'm a recovering overachiever. You know, a human doing, a human having, not a human being. And I want to go into this from my point of view. I lived early on, since infancy, that the only way to be happy, and I was in question, was actually, it started at 6 years old. I remember clear as day when I made that decision. Now I have to be perfect in order to be noticed by my mother. And so there it goes, 6 years old, and I was doing, having, doing in order to be visible by my mommy, in order to be loved by mom, and feel a sense of mattering to her. And there it was. So then my whole life is set up exactly what you're saying. I have to do, have, achieve by being a classic overachiever backed by perfectionism. And then I will matter. Then I will be good enough. Then I will be lovable. And then I'll be happy. And I was living backwards. Mm-hmm.
That is a very sadly and frighteningly common script. Each of us have carried the script, obviously have our own versions of it. Mm-hmm. But here's one of the things that I almost always ask people when I'm doing presentations or keynotes or training programs that include this particular topic that we're talking about right now. I ask them the question, what are the prerequisites for deserving to feel lovable, loved? What are the prerequisites to deserving to feel loved? And what an awful lot of people do is they start going down a list of doings and havings. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I am quite clear from the things we've already discussed. You're very clear that the question, as I've worded it, is a trick question. What?
Yes, but I would have aced it if I were listening to you way back. I would have handed you a list of ridiculous things.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So the answer for our listeners, the answer to the question, what are the prerequisites for deserving to feel loved? The answer is none.
Exactly. Nada. No thing. Nothing. None. None, people. Yes, exactly right.
The far more important question is, what are the prerequisites for being able to love?
Whew. Prerequisites to be able to love. Okay, good. What are they? Just give me the answers.
Well, this will go, I'll do something very brief because it's off topic, but the answer for me, first of all, starts with stepping into self-responsibility, authenticity, capacity to collaborate instead of coerce or compromise, the capacity to convert portions of my life energy and my wealths, my M-dimensional, multidimensional wealths, into money in service of actualizing my mission of impact and actualizing my ultimate life goals, the ideal calendar, lifestyle, and legacy I want to live, and to stay in integrity with my life balance commitments to my own well-being and to my cherished relationships.
Wow. Okay. And so, again, this is very deep-rooted stuff here. You know, this beingness took me a while to get. And then I had to, again, figure it out and go, okay, and then try it and then experiment and then go back to it. But this beingness is so imperative. It's so vital. And I have to constantly remind myself to come back to it, because it's easy to get triggered into the doing and the having and the having and the doing. It's like a drug fix, that addiction. Ugh, I got to accomplish something, which is what I go through, every day. Maybe that's why this morning I'm like, I think I need a little psychotherapy, because that's what I think was happening when we started the podcast. Is I got to do more. I had more things to do, to prepare. And then my little dog sprained his leg, and I was like, oh no, is he okay? And oh God, So all these things that go through my mind then get in the way of my beingness.
Uh-huh.
And we're off to the races.
Right.
In the wrong race. Yeah. The disempowered race.
Well, I'll tell you a little secret about why most people don't get all of what they need, even from good psychotherapy. It's because even good psychotherapists are rarely trained to go beyond the level of clearing away baggage or stepping into internal resonance with a desired set of beliefs and a desired state of being. Therapists, first of all, most therapists are just simply about get rid of the symptoms, control the symptoms.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
And that's because that's how most therapists have been trained.
Mm-hmm.
The reason that business people in general and leaders in the world of governance and things like that have very little regard for and respect for even good therapists is not because good therapists aren't good at therapy. It's because what leaders need in business and in government is they need to go from clearing the baggage that's getting in the way of their leadership to psychoeducational skills, to the up-leveling of the skills they need in order to embody their beingness in ways that produce results.
Exactly.
Therapists aren't generally trained to go there. That's why business and government leaders vastly underutilize psychotherapists or psychologists or mental health professionals. It's not. It's a crime. It's a crime because what my field actually has to offer is far more than psychotherapy. It's part of why I don't provide psychotherapy anymore.
Yes.
I'm much more, because there are some good therapists out there. I'm much more at the point of, okay, you've had good psychotherapy, now let me take you where the psychotherapists haven't been trained to take you in the realm of psychological skills.
Exactly. Woo! Okay. And thank you coming from you. I've said it so many times in my own way and still trying to be nice and respectful after going through many different therapists. But hearing that from you, again, music to my ears, and thank you. Thank you. Bravo. And I get it. And so does this then feed into the whole why affirmations aren't nearly enough as well? Can we link that together?
Yeah.
Good.
Easily, because people who, just as there are a bunch of things that therapists are not trained to do, they're only trained to go so far in the journey of human potential, facilitating human potential. The same thing is true in general in the world of spiritually oriented people, whether based in specific religions or just based in universal spiritual principles, doesn't matter. Because those folks are also not trained to go these next steps that you and I are talking about.
Yes.
They're just not trained. That's why I harbor no anger or guilt, resentment, and I don't harbor an emotional charge toward folks that are over reliant on affirmations, or professionals who teach their clients to be over reliant on affirmations, or therapists who teach their clients to be overly focused on woundology. It's because just haven't been trained otherwise. It's not something to point a finger at and rail about. It's simply something to repair and correct.
Yes, we're back to what they don't know, they don't know. They just aren't aware. It's not, it is that simple. And
no harm, no shame, no fault, no blame. Now let's fix it.
Exactly. And if they're not open, they're not open. But I love that because, again, couldn't agree with you more. Okay, so now we're talking about, can we move on to identifying your M wealths?
Yeah. What are the full range of each person's multiple wealths? So we touched on some of those areas of wealths earlier. Our wealth of good intention and heart, our wealth of spirit, our wealth of character, our wealth of health, our wealth of love, our wealth of expertise and experience and training. These are all forms of wealth that most people, certainly I wasn't, trained to even view as wealths. Because I, again, was operating under that faulty formula that says money creates wealth rather than wealth creates money.
So did all of this come from your experience of having been a slave to your practice early on and where everything evaporated?
Yeah, it came, my clarity, my innovations, my contributions to human potential have come from my being in pain over an issue in myself and going out on a journey to find resources to help me resolve whatever that issue happened to be, and then finding resources usually that helped me to an extent, but not far enough, and and then with those issues finally realizing that in order to get where I needed to go, the only resource I could depend on to get me there was my relationship with Source, and then opening up to wisdom coming through me that's smarter than me, and then finding that not only did I hugely benefit from that wisdom, but that others around me were thirsty for that wisdom also. So that's where all of this material comes from. A lot of it is stands on the shoulders of a book that came out in, I don't know what it was, the 1980s, I think it was, called Your Money or Your Life by Joe Dominguez, the late Joe Dominguez. And his material helped me massively, and not far enough.
Yes. Bingo. That's how I always felt. Not far enough. Not far enough. But then that spurred me to keep going. Is to keep searching, keep seeking. And so, wow. Okay. So my question is, this is my own personal question then. If, say I have identified my M wealth, like most of them, me personally, and then I say, okay, so I got my wealth, which I've been training for, so it came at no small price, time, money, effort, and here I am. Now, where's the money, Dr. David? Okay? Like, where?
Okay.
Like, show me the money. Yeah.
Show me the money. So, you've got your M wealths, and you're looking at those M wealths in the context of your impact mission. Which of those M wealths are you going to use in order to actualize, succeed at embodying your mission of impact? And then inside of that, which parts of your mission of impact are you going to be monetizing? So that you are right matching the M-wealth you're bringing to bear to the portions of your wealth that you're going to monetize in service of your impact mission. So you have a lot of that, I think. You may not have it written down, but you ooze that energy. You know, it really flows right out of your pores. So you got that. What you may or may not have is a very clear written statement or profile would be more accurate than the word statement of each of your ultimate life goals. What is the ideal calendar you want to be living in a given week? Over brush strokes over the course of a month, over the course of year over year. What is your ideal calendar that you want to live toward? You want to be ultimately actualizing. What you probably haven't done is you haven't created three, what I call them, is life energy pie charts. You haven't probably, if you have done this, then bless you, because you're way ahead of the vast majority of people. Most people have not created what I call life energy pie charts. So almost everyone knows what a pie chart is. Generally, it's for budgets.
Yes.
And so it's a visual way of depicting what percentage of an overall amount of money is going to be devoted to certain things, certain activities, projects, processes, expenses, etc., etc. And what's really important for us to have is three of those pie charts for our life energy, not the money. But how do we allocate our life energy? And the three pie charts are, the first is our ideal life energy pie chart, the one that we want to be living ultimately. The second is the way we're allocating our life energy now, which is a painful thing to look at because we're really imbalanced in our life energy allocations in the present, and even when we're relatively balanced, we're often inefficient in some of those. Like people oftentimes have too large a pie slice for their monetization pie slice and their life energy, and they, on top of that, they are frittering their time away. They're doing things in the monetization pie slice of their life energy that aren't getting them where they want to go anyway. So we need the ideal calendar we're looking toward, which is our ideal life energy pie chart, connected to our life energy pie chart, rather. We need the life energy pie chart that we're living right now so we can see what the gap is. And then the third pie chart is we construct a life energy pie chart that is the next approximation of our life energy allocations on the way toward our ultimate life energy pie chart that we can realistically aim toward in the next period of time. So you double back to what you were talking about earlier about setting financial goals for a year. Well, we most often do not set life energy allocation goals that we're shooting toward over the course of the year.
Right. So in simple terms, we're talking declare an amount, so to speak, to actually face the numbers or the amount, that we want to earn. Yes.
Absolutely. And to face the fact that only one pie slice of our life energy pie chart is the monetization pie slice. So that one pie slice funds the entire rest of our life energy pie chart. So if we are not massively efficient with that pie slice, the pie slices of the rest of our pie chart are going to be much smaller than we want them to be.
Right. And this is yes, go. Sorry.
And just to add one other piece about that, then the piece that those of us like you and me who are do-gooders, who are givers, who tend to be self-neglectful, we will commingle our monetization pie slice with our volunteer or low-price pie slice, our service pie slice. Our impact mission includes our love relationships. It includes our service pie slice in our life energy pie chart, and it includes our monetization pie slice. But our monetization pie slice, if we treat that as being the same pie slice as our volunteer pie slice, we will be functioning as though we are nonprofits.
Right.
In the worst term, nonprofit. And then we won't pay our bills.
Exactly. Functioning as a nonprofit. And then underneath that, resentful.
Yes, as a dysfunctional nonprofit, because
yes.
Nonprofits are supposed to be profitable.
Yes, exactly. So now we're highly dysfunctional, non-profiting. Okay, then we become a victim and a martyr, and then we're just on that insanity wheel.
And then our life balance commitments are out the window.
Yep. And then we're dead.
So now we're resentful, we're drained, and then the downward spiral escalates because now the more drained we become because we've sacrificed our life balance commitments to get where we say we want to go, and because our pie slice allocations and our life energy are completely out of whack, we keep getting more and more depleted, and the more depleted we become, the less productive we get, and the more impaired our decision-making becomes, and the more stressed we become, and then the more sick we finally get.
Yes.
And then our heart shuts down. And we can't love the people around us because we're too drained.
Yeah, and then we have to neglect ourselves, neglect them, because now we're trying so hard to overcompensate and try to fix everything. And
yes,
yeah. Go ahead.
That's the formula for that line from the Ballad of Jack and Diane. Life goes on long after the thrill of living is gone.
Yes, and then so now I'm thinking when you shared in the first podcast in our series about how wasn't then this the syndrome that you dealt with in your first marriage?
Precisely. That was my contribution to the demise, the co-created demise of my first marriage.
Yes. And it was a wicked trap. It's like treading water.
Yes. Well, pretending I was treading water while I was actually in the process of drowning.
Better said. Yep. Wow. Yeah, pretending to tread water. Then underneath that, yes, you were actually drowning. Oh, well, welcome to my life when my sister died. That was horrific. Exactly the same thing. And almost lost everything. You know, ranch, animals, my real estate, didn't want to live, so I didn't really need a house if I wanted to be dead, But there it is. Drowning.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. Okay, that is great stuff. And so now we're talking about taking charge of our life energy allocation. That's what this is all about now. After saying
exactly. That is part of applied integrity. Now, when people talk about integrity only as doing what I say I'm going to do, which is an absolutely crucial, central portion of what integrity is, that's not this portion of integrity. This portion of integrity around our life energy allocations, is unfortunately rarely considered as a part of being in integrity.
Exactly. Oh, thank you. Okay, so let's go through quickly to recap integrity.
Well, okay, so let's do a specialized definition of integrity in the context of our topic here around money. So, integrity around money is about alignment of our life energy allocations with our impact mission, our ultimate life goals, and our life balance commitments.
Wow. Excellent. I love that. Integrity around money. Integrity around money. Again, crucial, because a reminder that dealing with this money slice, or the monetization slice of our pie, of our life's pie, is got to be there. We have to identify money, monetization, money, and then integrity within that, because from my experience, growing up in the East Coast, my parents never talked about money. We don't talk about money. We never, the etiquette was, you don't talk about money, religion, politics, that kind of thing. But we never discussed money growing up. It was just one of those things that we could just do whatever, and there was money to pay for it. And so just reiterating the importance of dealing with this money thing, where from my own personal experience and clients' experience and the people I've worked with and spoken with, they'll talk about, I want to make more money, but they don't really want to delve into their money, the integrity around their money. Does that make sense?
Exactly. It's the same kind of dark blindness and lack
denial.
of skills, lack of a framework that causes couples to not talk about sex.
Yes. Oh, that's our next series. Sex and money. Okay. But exactly. So we're not talking about sex. We're not talking about money. We're not talking, but it must be discussed. It must be illuminated. It's in shadow, and we need to shine the light on it. Yes?
It must be discussed, or we will become disgusted.
Woo! That is exactly right. Let's talk about the big elephant in the room. Thank you. Oh my gosh.
And let's talk about it in good ways. Let's talk about the elephant in the room without blaming each other, shaming ourselves.
Yes. With no fault, with no make wrong, with no criticism, judgments. We're just having a conversation. Because
we're just doing what I refer to as blind spotting. We're identifying our blind spots, and then we are constructing a plan for how to fill in those blind spots in good ways that serve our goals, our objectives, our highest intentions.
Yes.
This is why affirmations alone don't work. They're wonderful for setting the right mindset, but then where the rubber meets the road is with these kinds of illuminations and plans.
Okay, so as I can think for myself, having this discussion, this all looks fantastic, right? I read the outline, okay, good. And then when I have to delve into it myself, let's just say, this is where more of what is in my shadowing is going to get triggered, and then it has to be dealt with as I go along to maintain and sustain. Isn't that correct?
That's right. There's an old saying that we're going to repurpose for the purpose of our discussion around money. It's a saying about love brings up everything unlike it in order for it to get healed. When we step into wanting to love, we're signing up to be exposed to everything in us that is unlike love, so that we can heal that and transcend it and outgrow it. The same thing is with money. When we step into developing conscious relationship with spiritually oriented monetization, that choice will start to bring up in us everything that is unlike that.
Yes. Oh no, another amen. Can I get an amen up in here? Okay. Oh.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Oh, Aunt Jemima. Okay. This exactly. I'm excited because it's not like the things I believe and say and know for my own life are falling on deaf ears. Thank you. This is like so wonderful. Oh, there's a little clicking. Okay, there you are.
Yes, yeah, there was clicking because I apparently have to replace the battery on my wireless phone because the charge is not lasting very long anymore. So I just had to switch to my handheld.
Oh, okay.
My wired set. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, not a problem. Okay, so now we're still on taking charge of our life energy allocation. We covered that. Any more you want to say about that?
No, that's I think good enough for the moment.
Yes. So just taking charge of that, and when we say taking charge, we're saying look at it, be with it, mull it over. It's going to be confronting, it's going to be scary, but hang in there, because this is what is required if we are to really monetize and have a big slice of money pie. Correct?
Right.
Yes.
We are allocating our life energy, whether we want to or not, mean to or not, or aware of our allocations or not. So we can either allocate our life energy by default or by design. So what I mean by taking charge of our life energy allocations is doing life energy allocation by design.
Yes. So I like to say consciously. Actually, yes. Working with it, dealing with it, relating to it, and whatever's coming up, deal with it. Let's not keep brushing it under the carpet and staying in denial, avoidance, hiding, all of that. Okay, perfect.
Right.
Yep.
So you see, in financial literacy, most financial literacy training, they're focusing on helping people take responsibility for consciously allocating their budgets, their monetary allocations. But the foundation gets missed. They're again, to go back to the analogy we were using earlier, that's like the framing in the building. Before you've prepared the soil to receive the foundation, and before you've created the foundation to create the flooring that you can then build your beams around and things like that. This is so crucial, and it's so often missed in conventional financial literacy training.
Yeah. I need to clone you. Clone. Okay? Exactly right. Oh my gosh. It's missing everywhere as far as I'm concerned. And almost every single thing it's missing. And what a difference it would make. Hence, here we are, okay, on the podcast. So now, last thing.
The entire financial services industry needs this framework in order to help their clients make intelligent choices about their own financial goals and their own financial well-being and their own financial wealth growth in order to reach their ultimate goals.
Bingo.
And this isn't even known in the financial services industry.
That's exactly right on again. Thank you. Wow. Okay. And the only thing is, sometimes I get so frustrated by that over and over again. I mean, that is a big thing with me, David, is that I get so easily like, oh my God, if only you knew this. So that's something I work on, but it's here. And that's the whole point of my podcast and everything that I'm doing and stand for. And that this is why I chose to collaborate with you, is because we speak the same language. And the only way to help even give the financial institutions a chance is to just put it out there. And then that's what helps calm my nerves about it. But again, thank you.
Exactly. Exactly, I agree. We're talking about the psychology and the spirituality of money.
Yes.
And the mental health professional world, there is no training that mental health professionals get on the psychology of money. In the spirituality world, there is rarely any training that spiritual directors get in the spirituality of money. In the world of financial services, there is no training in the psychology or the spirituality of money. So how can we lovingly and accurately expect them to provide what they haven't been trained to provide?
Exactly. And then, just one step further, but we will not get into it. But the spirituality thing, I've worked with many spiritualists, and I'm thinking, it's missing their humanness. Is that spiritually they're great, and then they're missing the human element, which I believe is this beingness that feeds right back in. But that's another story for another day. Don't even get me started. But I, again, agree wholeheartedly. And thank you. So, because of time, I could do this for days.
We're running short.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Evaluating your monetization decisions. Yeah. Okay.
So, monetization decisions have to do with deciding, like we did touch on portions of this already. So, which of your multidimensional wealths are going to be needed in order for you to succeed with your impact mission in the world, or at least the portion of your impact mission that you're going to be making a living with and creating your financial future through? And are the multidimensional wealths, the M wealths that you currently have, are you using the right ones, the ones that are best suited to express and achieve your impact mission in ways that enable you to achieve your ultimate life goals without sacrificing your life balance commitments? And are the forms in which you're productizing, either through products or services, your M wealths, the most useful to accomplish all of this? Because once we identify what we want to bring to the world, the question is, how do we package that, if you will? How do we offer that in a way that handshakes with what people not should want, that's ahead of the curve, but with what people are already thirsty for, and are so thirsty for that they're aching to pay money. They're aching to provide portions of their life energy they've converted into money in order to access my M wealths.
Right. Okay. So where does passion fall into this whole thing? Because what comes up is, I know a lot of people that they choose where they're going because of the money, but it's not really their first passion.
It's because they were never taught. The education system doesn't teach us to select our career and to select our way of walking through that career so that it enables us to express such crucial, such important portions of our impact mission that we can't wait to get up in the morning and go serve some more in forms that will make us money. We haven't been taught to make decisions from that set of priorities. Like I said at the beginning of this podcast, we haven't been given a framework for decision making around how we monetize and what we monetize.
Well, I can just say for myself, I just stuck to my passions and what I love doing, and people came to me and said, "Will you teach me?" Because I became so great at it that they, that's been wonderful. And that's what I live by personally. I don't know if that's a female energy type thing. I know for myself, I will never compromise my passion, but it's always served me. And I don't know if that's a different discussion for a different day, but we are talking, that for women versus men, or the feminine versus the masculine way of thinking. That's why I'm asking you that question. Because
okay. So it's true for men and women in my experience, but the word that's used is not always identical. So the word that you're using, which is passion, is more of a feminine archetype word. So when I say feminine or masculine archetype, I'm talking about energies that are in both men and women.
Yes.
Men have feminine aspects and masculine aspects in them. Women have feminine aspects and masculine aspects in them. So passion is a feminine aspect, a feminine expression of what we're talking about. Mission is the masculine expression of what we're talking about.
Okay, perfect. And so M-Wealth, we can take that passion and monetize passion.
That's what we're doing. We're monetizing our passion.
Yeah.
We're monetizing
and mission.
Our impact mission.
Okay, just so that that's where I stand, is that we can monetize our passion. We can't.
Yeah.
I highly advise it. You want to monetize your mission and or your passion, whichever one you relate to, your desires, whatever it is.
Unless we want to fall into living that line from that song.
Yeah.
Life goes on long after the thrill of living is gone. Unless we want to end up living that way, we must be willing to go to whatever lengths we need to go to in order to monetize our passion, monetize our impact mission.
Oh, God. Okay. And then we did talk about this last thing, filling the monetization gaps. We did discuss that already, didn't we? Because that is number 5, because we just have a couple minutes here.
Yep.
So in filling those gaps, you're saying that these are the missing keys, correct? And those missing keys are essential, without question. That it's the missing keys that we need to look for, not the keys we can already see, the ones we can't.
That's right. That's
okay.
Blind spotting.
Yep.
And again, like we've talked about before, the work that we have to do, the growth we have to do, we can only do for ourselves, but we can't do all of it by ourselves because we can't see our own blind spots. We can't fill in for ourselves skills we've never been exposed to.
Exactly right. Okay, so to sum it up here, that was great. I really love what you last summation of the podcast for this series. What would that be?
Oh, you're looking to me for that?
Yeah. Yeah. I could stay on another hour. You're the one who has to go, so
I know. So the real summary for me is that the ability to get right with money is not pie in the sky. It is not an unattainable thing. The ability to monetize in service of whatever our ultimate life goals are in ways that express our passion, our impact mission, without compromising and sacrificing our integrity or our life balance or our cherished relationships or social responsibility. All of this is within our grasp. All that's missing is we've not been exposed to a framework for accomplishing it. So what we've done in this 3-podcast series is we've provided a picture, a high-level overview of how to accomplish this. And now, where the rubber meets the road is what each of our listeners who are not willing to fall into the trap of life goes on long after the thrill of living is gone are going to be committing to doing for themselves and not by themselves. What kinds of resources are they going to utilize in order to succeed at living the framework that you and I have taken a lot of time to provide a picture of?
Yes. Okay. Dr. Gruder, Grud, David, ER.com. That is how you contact Dr. Gruder, David Gruder, the Grudes, okay? And there'll be more coming out on all of this, right, that you're going to be providing. You're working on it now. And they also can contact you for consultations and private sessions in regards to your money shadow freedom and evolving your money relationship. And that's how you would delve into that deeply with Dr. David. And wow, I think this has been so helpful because I love the framework that you've provided in the outline to show where I need to go personally. And then I know my forte is the part of the beingness, David, that whole beingness and being the unblocker when people are confronted. So this is like a match made in heaven in terms of the things people can't see is what really stops us, the things that are confronting us where we get blocked and then we stop. And I can speak for myself. So this is wonderful.
Me too.
I'm sorry, what was that?
You can speak for me too.
Yes, okay, wonderful. So will you join us again? I want to recap in, a little bit down the line to kind of go back through this again because we can never do it too much. I would love to have you back. I know you have a busy schedule, but that would be wonderful. And I can't thank you enough for collaborating with me to get this message out there because everything that you're doing is mind-blowing and spectacular. And I can't thank you enough. You're incredible.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you for having me on your podcast and for allowing me to bring this material to the people who know, love, and trust you. It's a joy. Of course, I'm happy to come back. Thank you for all of what you drew out of this discussion and the depths to which you were willing to go with me in order for us to get to the roots of issues that people sense are going on inside them, but generally don't know how to put into words in a way that empowers them to do something about it.
Exactly. And thank you, and you're so welcome. And I know you have to run, but until next time, right? Until next time, here's to evolving your money relationship, your relationship to self, your relationship to that inner child, the relationships to everyone and everything. We're wishing you miracles and magic always. Thank you all so much for listening.